All of us, I think now, if we weren't convinced before we came here, we're all convinced now that forgiveness education should be the right of every child. It's never too late. Forgiveness education is also relevant for adults. And Francisco and Faridah Enrile serve as a minister and counsellor respectively in the International Churches of Christ in the Philippines, and they've done so for the past 23 years. They've conducted numerous marriage and family workshops and seminars in many countries, and have trained hundreds of facilitators as well. Both are finishing their training to be qualified as solutions-focused therapists. Faridah is a qualified marriage and family counsellor, and recently they concluded 3 workshops on the power of forgiveness in Manila. And they have served over 2,100 participants in those workshops. We'd love to hear about forgiveness education in the sphere of adults. Thank you.
My name is Faridah Enrile, and my husband Coco. We're just so privileged to be part of this conference. We're so grateful that we did get to meet Dr. Enright and that he was able to share with us the forgiveness education. And so today we want to share with you what we did last October of 2016. What we did for adults, and we figured that if we can impact the adults and they learn forgiveness, they can help model it in their own homes. And if they can do that, then it can cause so much healing for the family. Okay, so we are really grateful that we can share this with you. We had both the husbands, the wives, singles, and even some campus students attend this conference last year. So I'll give you my husband.
Hello, everyone. This is a picture of our forgiveness workshop. This is part of the venue. Part of the group that we also conducted the workshops with. We had 3 different workshops. One was for all married women. The other one was for all married men. And then the 3rd workshop was for single adults. We decided to separate the married men and the married women for obvious reasons. They might end up fighting during that time. So we decided to separate them. So to set the tone, we shared a story about this incredible woman in South Africa during the time of apartheid. This woman had seen her very own son murdered in front of her, and now I'm going to read to you a portion about her seeing her husband about to be murdered too during that time. And here it goes. 8 years later, Van der Broek is the man that had originally murdered her son, and now is about to murder her husband. And others arrived to seize her husband. Hours later, Van der Broek came to fetch the woman. He took her to a wood pile where her husband lay bound. She was forced to watch as they poured gasoline over his body and ignited the flames that consumed his body. The last words her husband said were, "Forgive them." Now Van der Broek stood awaiting judgment. South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission asked the woman what she wanted. And she answered 3 things. I want Mr. Van der Broek to take me to the place where they burned my husband's body for I would like to gather up the dust and give him a decent burial. Second, Mr. Van de Broek took all my family away from me, and I still have a lot of love to give. Twice a month, I would like for him to come to the ghetto and spend a day with me so I can be a mother to him. Third, I would like Mr. Van de Broek to know that he is forgiven by God and that I forgive him too. I would like someone to lead me to where he is seated so I can embrace him and he can know my forgiveness is real. As the elderly woman was led across the courtroom, Van de Broek fainted. Someone began singing Amazing Grace, and gradually everyone joined in. The story of the South African woman is a very powerful story of forgiveness and hope, and it did set the tone for everyone in that workshop. And as we have seen the losses, the great losses that this woman in South Africa had, we talked about our own losses too. And so we went to this slide here, and then we talked about life. In life, we are mostly trained to win, whether to win in school, win outside in athletics, and everywhere else. However, many of our experiences do involve losing. And loss burns a deep memory in all of us. And we do all have losses in life. And so we talked to them and gave them this question: how do I respond to loss? Do I deny or stuff my emotions? Should I isolate myself? Do I simply avoid the issues? Or maybe just inappropriately express my emotions, like a walking porcupine? See, when you stuff so many of those emotions, somebody can just touch you and you can already explode and ask you, how are you doing? And just react immediately. And we call that the three sisters that propagate that thing. One is walking out there, blaming everybody else for what has happened in his or her life, or feeling so much guilt and weighed down by that, and or walking in shame. As we talked about these emotions, we told them this, which was very important. Emotion in itself is not sin. It just is. It just simply is an emotion. But it is important to know too, it is what we do with the emotion that can become a problem. So we had them sit down and we gave them a chart to accomplish. We call that the identity feelings chart. Sometimes we walk in life not knowing anymore what we're feeling. And so our hearts can just feel so numb, not knowing, hey, what am I really going through? So every participant at the beginning was given a booklet, and part of this is the feelings chart. This is how it would look like. I'm not so sure if you could see it from there. But what we had them do is encircle the usual feelings that they experience on a daily basis. We did this so that they can become aware of those feelings and where they may possibly be coming from. Like, for example, they may be feeling anger, but maybe it comes from guilt or shame. After filling out this chart, we had them do a reflection time. It was here that they had to sit with someone whom they feel is a safe place, that they can possibly open up to. Others opted to sit with people they did not know for the experience. A few did not wish to share anything at all. So after identifying the feelings, we gave them time to share with their partners. Once they have done that, we went to the next phase. And the next phase was to identify losses and hurts in our lives. It's sort of like peeling off the layers of hurts, of pain, and losses that we have experienced in our lives. Then we recorded some testimonies of different personal losses and hurts, And I'd like to share with you an example of that. The first person that will be sharing in Filipino. There will be subtitles at the bottom, and you'll be able to read those. So let's see this video.
Hi, ako po si Abner Sanlunaventura, 27 years as a disciple. Part po ako ng senior ministry. 1999 nang bumagsak ang aking negosyo sa kanila ng naloko at nasundin ako. That was during the time na ang mga anak ko ay nag-aaral ng college at elementary. Dumating sa punto na nilipat ko ang gusto kong anak sa public school. Hindi ko alam kung saan kami kukuha ng pang-tuition fee. At the same time, pati ang pagkain namin sa araw-araw. Ang tanong ko sa sarili ko, kung bakit nangyari sa buhay namin yun. For almost 6 months, hindi po ako lumalabas ng bahay. I was depressed and I was asking God kung paano ako makaka-recover. Matapos ang pangyayari yun, kinausap ko siya at inanong siya kung bakit niya nagawa sa akin. During our conversation, humingi siya sa akin ng tawad. At na-realize ko na lahat naman kami nagkakamali. Tinanggap ko yung paghingi ng tawad ko siya. At sinabi ko sa kanya na gusto mo na lumabit bilang sa magkaibigan.
My name is Maria Teresa J. Casbas, 48 years old, married with 3 children. Growing up, I was close to my dad. He was my mentor and my hero. I used to tag along with him to some of these activities, whether at church or being involved in the community service. Despite these good early memories, as the years went by, I learned things about my father that changed how I saw him. I learned of his numerous extramarital affairs, and these things changed our relationships and left it broken. For years, resentment and hurt, even hate, battled in my heart. I hurt for my mom, I hurt for my sibling, but most of all, I hurt for myself. In summer of 2016, I was blessed to be able to attend and experience the workshop. It was a 2-day heart-wrenching experience. Furthermore, the forgiveness workshop in our church helped me see through all the ugliness in my heart. And these programs helped me process what was inside my heart, the things I was not letting go and letting them handle. It helped me fully understand what forgiveness is all about. With much praying, my attitude and heart started to change. And I do believe God has been teaching me unconditional love. Having accepted our situation and moving forward, my hope was renewed. So right now, my relationship with my dad is restored.
And so from those examples, it gave a time for everybody there to think about the losses that they had. Would it have been a loss because a friend swindled him out of the business? Or was it a loss of trust? Or what might it be? So we told them to write the significant highs and lows of your life in this piece of paper right here, again in that booklet, writing down the main relationships, and not only to focus on the negatives, but also to write down the good times. So this was just to foster awareness of their losses and also what has been good in their lives. Some of the questions that were posed, when you look at your chart there, are high points and low points. The low points usually are accompanied by hurts, losses, lack of forgiveness, and the need to forgive. Is there an event, person, or persons that has directly caused you hurt, loss, or lack of forgiveness? Is there an event person or persons that you have caused hurt and you need forgiveness from. So they wrote it down, and then they had the time again to be able to share with a safe place or their partner at that time. So this is a big picture of them able to share with each other. After, we talked about how do we start forgiving. But what we did was show another video about baggages. And what can happen is when we do get hurt, we lift up baggages and we carry those baggages everywhere we go. And because we do not know how to unload these baggages, we just keep on carrying all of these other baggages until we're just swamped with all of these baggages, hurts, and losses in our lives. One of those highlights that we talked about there is that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But we all know that that is not true. Words can destroy. Words can hurt. And when hurting people are hurting, they will hurt others unless you get rid of your baggages. So, the solution that we propose to everyone is this: forgiveness is the way to unload. So I'd like to call my wife and share more about this portion of our workshop.
Okay. The next thing is we will watch another video. I know earlier on many people have been talking about the benefits of forgiveness in our lives. And this next video we will watch actually is part of our I Choose Us marriage program. It was a blessing to be able to have this video even before. I think it was a preparation for us to get to know about the forgiveness curriculum, because it was a scientific study of the benefits of forgiveness. So here we want to watch this.
Click on it.
Oh, what I did.
Click on it.
This.
Yeah, this one. Can you click on it? There you go.
Really what's interesting is what happens if you decide that you're going to hurt them just as you make that decision.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to make them pay. All of a sudden, in your brain, the pleasure pathways just fire up. This is the same pleasure pathways that light up when you have a craving for a food, when you have a craving for chocolate. We have a biological process that's happening in our brain that rewards us for paying people back when they do something that we didn't like. What really is...
If, as some believe, the soul wishes peace, but the brain seeks sweet revenge, is that a formula for confusion? The majority of faith traditions have always valued forgiveness, but now there is a growing body of scientific evidence that says holding on to grudges is harmful, and that forgiveness is good for health. Dr. Everett Worthington at Virginia Commonwealth University and Dr. Kathleen Lawler Rowe at East Carolina University are two of the many scientists around the world now looking at the value of forgiveness, using measurements like breathing patterns, heart rate, blood pressure, and sweat.
In 1998, there were about 58 studies that studied forgiveness scientifically. In 2005, we located about 950 studies. So between 1998 and 2005, the scientific study of forgiveness absolutely exploded.
To what extent do you still feel either a grudge or negative feelings when you think about this man and these childhood experiences?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm able to be neutral. I feel my heart beating right now. So I wouldn't say I'm able to be neutral, but I'm I'm able to be much less affected.
When I bring people into the laboratory, I ask them to tell me about a time when someone deeply upset you, hurt you, betrayed you. And some people immediately say, well, where do you want me to start? I have a long list. They could talk about lots of different people in that context. Other people sit and think and think and think and struggle to come up with something. And I think that's part of the forgiving personality is more forgiving people are just a little less aware of being offended.
How you feel in terms of forgiveness towards this man. And if one means, I don't forgive him at all, and I hope terrible things happen to him, and 10 is we're completely reconciled and this is so it never happened.
I don't know, 5 or a 6.
When a person walks into the laboratory, we have a few minutes where they sit and we try to get a resting level. And interestingly, highly forgiving people have lower blood pressure just walking around in the world every day. But when we bring them into the lab, we ask them about a time when someone betrayed them, and everybody's blood pressure increases when they talk about this emotional moment.
During the ride home that, he wanted me to come to his dorm with him, and, I said no and stuff. And we talked a little bit outside, and he was being kind of pushy. He had me in the corner at one time, being just very violent and aggressive.
But the amount of initial increase is really not the critical factor. The critical thing is how long that blood pressure remains elevated. And people who are talking about a time that they are still very unhappy about and that they have not been able to resolve or forgive, their blood pressure stays elevated for a longer period of time.
Okay, this shows you blood pressure when we started out is very normal, very healthy, 121/83. And as you start talking about this event, it goes up to 156/87, and then 164, and here it's 184/127. This is an event that really triggers a reaction in you.
I really don't like that guy, do I?
Oh, wow. But at least
Many of the stories that I have heard have been profoundly disturbing, and the person will never forget what has happened to them. But I have seen instances of people completely coming to resolution about it. They show the pattern of the forgiving person, that their blood pressure increases, but it drops off as they talk about it, and they're very quickly back to normal. Where someone else may have a far more trivial incident, but if they're hanging on to it for dear life, you see the pattern of the maintenance of blood pressure and the slow recovery. So I don't think the severity determines the health effects. It's really how the person is able to kind of incorporate this past experience into their lives.
Okay, so that was amazing just to see that scientifically the benefits. So in the next slide, we just shared that there seems to be a fight within us either to forgive or not to forgive. But there seems to be a clear benefit to us when we do decide to forgive. Okay, there are two sides to forgiveness, and that's one side is asking for forgiveness, and the other is rendering forgiveness. And we asked them and ourselves during that workshop to ask ourselves, why do I ask for forgiveness? And this can be the reasons. Is it to restore a relationship? Is it to release the other person from the burden of the unforgiveness? Sometimes when we hurt other people, it doesn't bother us. We hardly even notice that we've hurt someone. But for the one that we've hurt, it means the world to them if we do ask for forgiveness. So it's good to know why we're asking for forgiveness. Another reason we could want to ask for forgiveness is just to get off the hook. For husband and wife, sometimes that happens where you just say sorry just so you stop the fight. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, forgive me, But is that the real reason? Is that real forgiveness? And is that the reason you're asking for forgiveness? But something that we did mention during that workshop is to never demand forgiveness. To demand forgiveness only imposes yet another burden on the person I have wronged. So, asking forgiveness makes the injured person take responsibility, but apology takes responsibility. So the goal is, if you're asking for forgiveness, our role is to apologize and it's up to the person we've hurt if they're ready to forgive or not. Okay, what about those that have wronged me? And I know that forgiveness is a process. This takes time. But ideally, the goal is I must forgive. That is the ideal. Okay, so someone's actions or words have offended or hurt me. Okay, that's when we feel someone has wronged me. Okay, this probably would help in the forgiveness process, and I know this was mentioned earlier, which we shared during the workshop, is forgiveness is not the following. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. Forgiveness may not mean restoration of relationship. Sometimes it does, but not always. Forgiveness does not mean trust. It does not mean that you can trust this person again. Forgiveness does not mean it's okay, that the offense was fine. Okay, I know we've been showing this in the beginning. For all the participants, they were all given a booklet to fill up. So they have everything in the slide that was shown in that 3-hour workshop. They fill in the blanks so that everything in that slide they have in that booklet. So this is just a sample of that booklet that was given. And also 2 weeks prior to the workshop, we tried to prepare as much as we could the participants. Since we are church-based, we gave them some sayings and scriptures on forgiveness just to prepare their hearts 2 weeks before the workshop. This is a sample, just a picture of them filling up the booklet. So the next slide that we showed also was just a question: what does forgiveness mean? And forgiveness can mean accepting reality, the willingness to suffer the consequences of the sin of another. As long as I believe that my lack of peace and joy is someone else's fault, I will not be able to see God's perspective and cannot overcome. Forgiveness also means giving up my rights to get even and giving up the right to use it against that person. My unwillingness to forgive another puts me in bondage. If I do not make a decision to forgive, I am the one in jail. And we will be watching another video, and I'm going to call up my husband for this.
This final video we will be watching is about a woman whose father was murdered. And she actually came face to face with the person that had murdered her father. So let's watch this.
Hi, my name is Sergey Imagi, and I'm so excited to share about my life and what I've learned about forgiveness. When my father died, he was a retired colonel in the military, and he was very, very ill. He was known for his generosity, his love, and loyalty to his men and his country. He survived a lot of war areas in the Philippines and also in Vietnam. But ironically, my father was murdered in his own home by a civilian who was only 21 years old, and he was my dad's houseboy. He got involved in drugs, and he learned to steal from my dad, and eventually, in his anger, he murdered my dad. He used a 2x4 beam or wood with rusty nails on it, and he used it to murder my dad. My dad received about at least 18 blows on his head alone. I remember the crime scene, there's so much blood all over on the walls and on the floors, and I can just imagine the violence and the pain that my dad had to go through before he died. The murderer was arrested, and he went to jail, and while the case was ongoing, the following months were the most difficult part of my life. For months, we were receiving a lot of death threats. He was probably conniving with somebody and sending us messages that they knew what we were doing and where we were, and that they said that if they killed my dad, they could kill us all. It was a very, very difficult time of our life. I remember telling myself, here I was living as a free person, and yet I was taken captive by my own fear, my own anger, and my bitterness. And I thought that my response was understandable because the offense was so grave. And that for me to have an unforgiving heart, I thought it was fine, but deep inside me, I was being eaten by it. And then it dawned on me that before God, there's no such thing as big and small offense. There's no category of sin, and I am as much as a sinner as this guy who murdered my dad. So I decided to forgive him and actually set him free. But I remember looking at him straight in the eyes in the courtroom, and I told him, what you did was wrong, but I forgive you. Why don't you live a life that's changed and just be different? I told him he was still young. It wasn't too late to change. And with no remorse, he looked at me straight in my eyes and said, I did do it. My heart sank. But deep inside me, I knew that I had to let it go, because my forgiveness was not dependent on how he responded to me. One wise man said, forgiveness doesn't excuse their behavior, but forgiveness prevents their behavior from destroying your heart. I stand before you with an intact heart, and I was able to forgive because I remember how much God has forgiven me. Not because I deserve it, but He saw me worthy of His forgiveness. So I thought, who am I not to give it to somebody else who, in all of our eyes, did not do anything to deserve it? I'm so grateful, and I give all the glory to God. Thank you very much for listening.
She had a choice, but what she decided was to forgive. Then after showing that video, what we told everybody else was to write a resolution letter. And what they did was for them to express all their apologies and forgiveness for the person that they had in their heart. And also to express all unprocessed emotions toward this person, including anger, disappointment, shame, appreciation, etc. That would be also to include emotions about unmet hopes, dreams, and expectations. We told them, never, ever send this to that person. Okay, just keep it to yourself. So we gave them about 20 minutes to write down this letter. Then finally, we told them to write a letter to God, because sometimes it is one of the most difficult things to do is to forgive yourself. And we had them write a letter to God, and we showed the final video, and we had a follow-up in small groups for at least 2 more weeks with everybody there. The comment that we got from many of the participants that it was not only very helpful, but they in fact even needed more time to do all of these things, to be able to share and talk. So this is the closing, when everybody was reaching out to each other, and the great feeling of just being liberated. Forgiveness is powerful. Forgiveness repairs the heart. Forgiveness reconnects relationships. As Jesus said to Matthew, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Isn't it amazing? They needed more time. Did we experience that? Needing more time. We wish the day could be just a little longer.